You know, there are a lot of foods we grow up eating that seem harmless, even comforting, like a warm bowl of oatmeal, a slice of toast with jam, or a banana on the counter that's just turned a little brown. It's the kind of food that reminds you of home. Of simpler times. You see those little brown spots on a banana and think, it's just ripening. Maybe you even believe it's healthier that way. I know I once did. But what if I told you that eating a spotted banana, especially after the age of 70, might be quietly hurting you? Causing real damage, not just to your blood sugar, but to your nerves, your memory, and your energy. I'm Dr. Marcus Vail, and today I need you to hear me out. Because this isn't just about bananas. It's about something much bigger. Something affecting millions of seniors who think they're doing the right thing for their health, while unknowingly pushing their bodies in the wrong direction. You see, aging changes how your body handles food. That banana your body could easily digest at 40, might now wreak havoc at 70. Your pancreas slows down. Your cells become more resistant to insulin. Your digestive enzymes weaken. And that means sugar, even the natural kind, gets processed differently. More sluggishly. Less efficiently. That spotted banana you think is full of nutrients. It's actually a sugar bomb waiting to explode inside your bloodstream. Especially when it's overripe, when the starches have fully broken down into simple sugars. It hits your system fast, too fast, causing your blood sugar to spike almost instantly. Now you might be thinking, but doctor, it's fruit. It's natural. How bad can it be? And I get that. I really do. We've been told for decades to eat more fruit. And generally, fruit can be a good thing. But here's the nuance: after 70, your body isn't the same. Your metabolic flexibility changes. Your ability to handle glucose becomes compromised. And a ripe, spotted banana. It contains up to 25 grams of fast-absorbing sugar, that's equivalent to nearly 6 teaspoons of sugar, in a single serving. That's not just a sweet snack, that's a full-on glycemic assault on your system. And what happens next is even more alarming. That blood sugar spike triggers a flood of insulin. If your cells aren't responding well, which is common in older adults, the sugar doesn't get stored in muscle or liver, it stays in the bloodstream, or worse, gets stored as fat around your organs. And when this happens often, say, every morning at breakfast, you set yourself up for long-term damage. Nerve damage. Vision problems. Brain fog. Even an increased risk of Alzheimer's, which some researchers now call type 3 diabetes. Let me tell you about a patient. His name is George. George, 74, never smoked, exercised daily, and took care of his health. He had a habit. He sliced a ripe banana into his cereal or oatmeal every morning for 15 years. He considered it wise. Natural sugars. Potassium. Easy to chew. Over time, George developed foot problems. A scorching sensation. Tingling. He was diagnosed with peripheral neuropathy. Then came fatigue. Memory lapses. His A1C climbed into pre-diabetic range. A glucose monitor on George revealed a spike in blood sugar after breakfast, not after pizza or cookies. When he switched to low-glycemic berries and flaxseed, his energy returned, blood sugar stabilized, and neuropathy symptoms eased. The problem isn't that bananas are evil, but the body's aging process changes. Overripe bananas, with darker spots, have higher sugar content and a higher glycemic index. Now, does that mean you can never eat bananas again? Not necessarily. But it does mean you need to be smart about it. Portion size. Ripeness. What you combine it with. For example, a small half-ripe banana eaten with protein and healthy fat, like almond butter or Greek yogurt, can blunt the sugar spike. But a full spotted banana on an empty stomach? That's a metabolic landmine. And here's the kicker, this daily blood sugar roller coaster doesn't just impact your body, it affects your brain. Sudden glucose spikes followed by crashes can cause mental fatigue, irritability, and forgetfulness. Over time, chronically elevated glucose levels damage the tiny blood vessels in your brain, reducing blood flow and impairing memory. That's one reason why researchers have found a link between high blood sugar and accelerated cognitive decline. You might also notice increased inflammation. Why? Because excess sugar triggers your immune system into overdrive. That's what contributes to joint pain, fatigue, and a weakened immune response. And for seniors, that's especially dangerous, because your immune system is already slower to respond. So when I say that a seemingly innocent banana could be causing harm, I'm not exaggerating. This is real, it's measurable, and it's preventable. Now you may be wondering, if bananas are risky, what are better alternatives? And I promise, we'll get into that in just a bit. But first, I want you to really take this in. If you're over 70 and dealing with memory issues, tingling in the hands or feet, stubborn belly fat, or energy crashes after meals, don't overlook the possibility that your morning fruit might be silently making things worse. That's what I saw in George. And I've seen it in hundreds of patients just like him. Let's go deeper into what those blood sugar spikes are actually doing inside your body. We'll look at the hormonal response, the inflammation patterns, the oxidative stress, and even how it affects your gut microbiome, and then we'll talk about what you can do instead. Safer fruits. Better breakfast routines. Smarter blood sugar habits that actually support your longevity. Because that's the point of all of this, isn't it? To live longer, not just in years, but in health. With energy. With clarity. With freedom from chronic disease. And sometimes, that starts with questioning the simple choices we make every day. Like what fruit we eat in the morning. So, what exactly happens when you eat an overripe, spotted banana, especially after the age of 70? Now listen carefully, because this is where the truth gets buried in the details most people overlook. The moment a banana turns heavily spotted, those black specks and dark patches we often think of as sweet and harmless, its internal chemistry has dramatically changed. And no, this isn't just about taste or softness. I'm talking about what it does to your blood, your nerves, and even your long-term metabolic stability. You see, the banana's starches have now completely broken down into simpler sugars, glucose, fructose, and sucrose. At this stage, a single overripe banana can spike your blood sugar faster than a candy bar. And if you're over 70, your body doesn't handle these surges like it used to. Your insulin sensitivity is diminished. Your cells don't open up as efficiently to absorb that sugar. And when that sugar lingers in your blood, it becomes a silent, circulating threat. Let me explain what I mean through the story of a patient of mine, George, 74 years old, sharp-witted, active, but always feeling just a bit off. He complained of constant tingling in his feet. He thought it was just old age, circulation issues, or maybe too much walking. But when I dug deeper, we found something surprising. His blood sugar, while not in the diabetic range, was consistently fluctuating at high normal levels. That meant his body was struggling to keep up. He swore he didn't eat sweets, didn't touch soda, and avoided white bread like the plague. But then he told me about his breakfast. Every single morning, George ate a banana, specifically one with spots, soft, sweet, and almost mushy. Why? Because he'd read somewhere that it was easier to digest and good for heart health. Now here's the issue. While bananas do contain potassium, magnesium, and fiber, the overripe versions deliver a sugar load that's nearly instantaneous in how it hits your bloodstream. And when you're over 70, your glucose metabolism isn't efficient enough to process that rush. So instead of giving your cells fuel, the sugar clogs your bloodstream. And it gets worse. When elevated sugar floats around in your blood for long periods, it starts to bind with proteins, a process called glycation. That glycation creates these nasty compounds called AGEs, advanced glycation end products. Sounds like something from a science fiction movie, doesn't it? But it's very real. AGEs are one of the major contributors to nerve damage, inflammation, and vascular stiffness in older adults. That numbness or tingling in your fingers or toes. That weird burning sensation at night. That sudden memory slip or feeling like you're in a fog. AGEs could be playing a silent role behind the scenes. And what was the biggest dietary source for George? The spotted banana. But it's not just about the sugar spike. Let me take you even deeper. Overripe bananas also have a higher concentration of dopamine, yes, the feel-good neurotransmitter. That might sound like a good thing, but hear me out. When dopamine surges artificially from sweet foods, your brain gets conditioned to expect more. That means you'll start craving these bananas more frequently, even when you're not hungry. It becomes a subconscious cycle. Pair that with unstable blood sugar levels and a weakened nervous system, and you're looking at a recipe for long-term metabolic disaster. Let me put this into perspective. A recent study published in the journal Diabetes Care examined seniors over the age of 65 who consumed high glycemic foods, including overripe fruits, at least 5 times a week. Those individuals were found to have 36% higher rates of peripheral neuropathy, nerve damage in the hands, feet, and legs, compared to those who ate more stable, low-glycemic options. So the real question is, why aren't more doctors talking about this? Well, partly because bananas are seen as natural. They're not processed. They're not fried or wrapped in plastic. But natural doesn't always mean safe, especially when your body has slowed down its ability to process what it once handled with ease. And don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-banana. In fact, in their green or just ripe state, bananas have more resistant starch, less sugar, and actually support gut health. But once they've turned spotty, soft, and overly sweet, they're no longer your friend, especially if you're trying to preserve your brain, your nerves, and your cardiovascular system past 70. Now, let me share another story that might resonate with you. Margaret, a 69-year-old former teacher, came to me after being told she was pre-diabetic. She was terrified of ending up like her brother, who lost part of his foot due to neuropathy. She ate clean, or so she thought. Her breakfast was a glass of orange juice, a bowl of oatmeal, and a spotted banana sliced on top. Classic, right? But within 30 minutes of breakfast, she often felt dizzy, sleepy, and even a little anxious. What was happening? The triple sugar bomb from the juice, the refined oats, and the overripe banana was pushing her blood sugar into the stratosphere, only to come crashing down an hour later. That sudden drop triggered adrenaline and cortisol, stress hormones, which made her feel jittery and mentally foggy. Once we replaced her banana with a handful of blueberries and added chia seeds to her oatmeal for fiber and fat, her symptoms vanished in a week. Just like that. What she thought was healthy was actually draining her energy and damaging her nerve endings, one spoonful at a time. This is why I always say, health after 70 is a matter of subtraction, not just addition. You don't just need to eat more good foods. You need to remove the silent saboteurs that are hiding in plain sight. And that brings me to one more critical point. When you wake up in the morning, your body is in a fasted, insulin-sensitive state. That's when blood sugar spikes hit the hardest. That means eating high-sugar fruits like a spotted banana on an empty stomach is one of the worst things you can do for your metabolic and neurological health, especially over time. It's like throwing gasoline on a smoldering fire. And the result? Over time, your nerves suffer. Your vision blurs. Your hands lose their grip. Your feet go numb. Your memory flickers. And your balance weakens, raising your risk for falls and fractures. Now, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect. How many mornings have you started with a soft, sweet banana because you thought it was good for your heart? How many times have you tossed aside your concerns because fruit is healthy? How many little moments have passed, dizziness, fogginess, numb toes, that you chalked up to aging, when in reality, it might be something as simple as this morning habit? The truth is, you don't need to throw away bananas altogether, but you do need to rethink how and when you eat them. If you're going to have one, choose a banana that's just barely yellow. Pair it with healthy fats and proteins like almond butter or Greek yogurt. Better yet, opt for fruits that don't spike your blood sugar, like berries, green apples, or pears. And above all, stop treating your age as a license to coast. Your body still responds. Your cells still fight for you. But only if you give them the right tools, and stop handing them silent poison disguised as breakfast. In the next part, I'll walk you through exactly what I now recommend my senior patients to eat for breakfast instead, and the 5 most common breakfast mistakes I see ruining their health silently. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next could not only protect your nerves, but possibly extend your life. And here's what often shocks most seniors I meet. They've been told for years that bananas, especially ripe ones, are a healthy snack. In fact, some have even switched from processed cookies and crackers to bananas, believing they're doing their body a great favor. But when I show them the blood sugar chart after consuming a fully ripened, speckled banana, their jaws hit the floor. The spike is nearly identical to drinking a glass of cola. Let that sink in. Now, I'm not saying bananas are evil. They're not poison in a peel. But for a body over 70, especially one battling creeping blood sugar issues, tingling in the feet, or early signs of neuropathy, that spotted banana may be more of an enemy than a friend. Let me explain why, and more importantly, what to do instead. Remember Margaret? I told you about her earlier. She was the sweet 74-year-old from Indiana who came to me because she was struggling with sudden blood sugar crashes, fatigue, and this strange numbness that crept up her legs like vines. She had no idea that her morning routine, just a simple bowl of oatmeal with a ripe banana, was silently sabotaging her. Her case led me down a rabbit hole, and I started seeing the same thing in patient after patient. Here's what's happening inside your body: as bananas ripen, their starch converts to sugar. That's why they taste sweeter. A green banana might have a glycemic index, GI, of about 40 to 50. But a fully spotted banana? That GI can jump to over 70, meaning it releases sugar into your bloodstream nearly as fast as candy. Now combine that with the slowed insulin response that many seniors naturally experience, and you have a recipe for hyperglycemia, followed by that dangerous insulin overcompensation. This roller coaster effect, up, then way down, is especially harmful to aging nerves, particularly those in your feet, legs, and fingers. And here's the hidden danger: you might not even feel it happening, at least not right away. That's why so many seniors attribute their fatigue or forgetfulness to just getting older. But it could be food-triggered inflammation slowly choking your nerve endings and starving your brain of stable energy. Let's take a moment to talk about the nervous system. You've got about 45 miles of nerves in your body. And the smallest ones, the peripheral nerves, are the first to suffer when blood sugar isn't stable. They begin to lose their protective sheaths. They misfire. They become overly sensitive or completely numb. And it doesn't take a decade. Sometimes, it happens in a matter of months, especially in those already dealing with borderline glucose issues. Bananas, particularly those spotted, sugary ones, hit your bloodstream hard. And when that sugar rush meets compromised vascular health, it's like throwing gasoline on a slowly smoldering fire. Over time, this can lead to full-blown neuropathy, early cognitive decline, or even increase your risk of diabetic complications, even if you've never been officially diagnosed with diabetes. So what can you do instead? Let me offer a few senior-friendly alternatives that support nerve health, balance blood sugar, and still satisfy that sweet craving. Option 1: berries. Blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries are much lower on the glycemic index. They're packed with antioxidants, particularly anthocyanins, which actually protect nerve endings and brain tissue. In fact, studies show that regular consumption of berries is linked to slower cognitive decline in older adults. Option 2: chia seed pudding. This one's a sleeper hit with my patients. Chia seeds soaked in unsweetened almond milk overnight, with a touch of cinnamon and a few drops of vanilla. It's filling, stabilizes blood sugar, and supports gut health, which, by the way, is intricately tied to brain and nerve health. Option 3: apple slices with nut butter. Choose a small green apple and pair it with almond or walnut butter. The healthy fat slows the absorption of sugars and gives your brain a dose of omega-3s. Now, let's circle back to a question I always get from skeptical patients. Doctor, are you saying I can never have a banana again? My answer: not necessarily. But timing, ripeness, and combination matter. If you must have a banana, make it a greenish one, not fully spotted. Pair it with protein or healthy fat to slow the sugar absorption. And never eat it on an empty stomach. That's when the glucose spike is most dangerous. Here's a little trick I give my patients: blend half a green banana with unsweetened Greek yogurt, a scoop of flaxseed, and a handful of spinach. You still get the taste without the blood sugar blast. Now, I want to address something even more critical: why nerve damage matters beyond the discomfort. Nerve damage isn't just about tingling or burning feet. It disrupts balance. It reduces muscle response time. It slows digestion. It can interfere with bladder control. And when your body becomes confused by misfiring signals, it increases your fall risk dramatically, one of the leading causes of hospitalizations in seniors over 70. Just think about that for a moment. A fruit, one that's marketed as nature's perfect food, could be playing a hidden role in reducing your mobility, independence, and cognitive sharpness. Not because it's inherently bad, but because your body has changed, and the rules are different now. If you found this video helpful, please tap like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may be struggling. And remember, it's not just about living longer, it's about staying strong while you do it. Thanks for watching. Stay strong, stay safe. And see you in the next video.